Alright, welcome guys to tonight's live coverage of our ongoing ice storm, which is in fact going on across portions of Mid-South right now. A lot of mixed precipitation types are ongoing right now. Again, we got mainly ice with this, but there has been some sleet reports. In fact, if we look over here, there have been 1 to 2 inches of sleet in some places across Texas. And some of these reports are in fact over 1 inch, especially in the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area and also some surrounding locations. And there have been many freezing reports from Arkansas and Texas as well. We're just looking at reports here, and these are showing some of them could be going as far as over, 3/10 of an inch have been included in some of the reports here for the freezing rain. This has been going on with the storm. Right now, we do have the storm moving through the South and Ohio Valley. This will keep moving. This is going to be only. This is only one of the rounds. This is the second wave now. We are expecting a third wave tonight and tomorrow across the same regions, unfortunately. This current storm, however, is impacting portions of Arkansas. Okay, so I'm just going to go over metros that are currently being impacted by the worst. So Nashville, Memphis, Little Rock, which is some of the towns that are being currently impacted by this ongoing ice storm. So again, we do want to keep being alert for tonight as well, as there's going to be multiple waves of ice even from today with the storm as it moves through. So this is only second round out of what's going to be 3 or 4 of them for this region, unfortunately. This does look to last into Thursday, and we'll also take a look at models later and get more details on that. So again, if you're in the I've passed this ice storm, I do recommend you do not travel at all, as roads are in fact very dangerous from this storm, especially from the ice accumulations. There is also ongoing sleet in some areas as well, so there's mixed types of precipitation with this, really in winter weather. However, there is a rainy side to this which is currently going on across Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, east portions of Tennessee, and the Virginia and North Carolina area. And these are estimated precipitation types according to the radar as of right now. However, we do see a bunch of ice storm activity ongoing, with some of the reports indicating that. And this is going to be causing significant impacts to travel infrastructure and trees, and possibly. So this is be a main area of concern now. There's a little weather going on elsewhere, as you can tell most of the map. Besides this ongoing activity right here in the south of the United States, there's a little weather going on elsewhere across the nation as of just this moment here. looking at weather. We will be looking at weather forecast discussion. Actually, I'm be right back in a little bit. I'm actually be right back in a little bit, guys. Stay tuned. I will be focusing on this video, keeping it up in the meantime, though. however, get to the model shortly, and if any questions come up, feel free to do so in the chat. We will be responding as soon as we can. Of course, there'll probably be something we'll be looking at regularly, so. So for windstorm warnings, we have them in effect for if you're in the pink shade region. That's where we have our windstorm warnings in effect, including Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. We have our ice storm warnings in effect in our purple region, including Texas and portions of Arkansas, Tennessee, and Mississippi. There's another long range of winter weather advisories spanning from Mexico and Texas through Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, West Virginia, and Virginia. Although they are scattered out in places such as Montana and even lake effect for northern New York State and even a little bit on upper peninsula Michigan. And we will also be looking at models for today as well. We'll actually switch to this one. This isn't necessarily the latest one. Had that latest one, however, is still just barely started loading. So I'm gonna go on the latest fully loaded one as of right now. So this model does show a little light snow, which is what the wind was advising Montana is for in that area. And then we also do see the mixed bag precipitation that is going on in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, into Tennessee and Kentucky. Now, the little snow can also fall potentially in the southern Appalachians. Also, we're going to be timing all this well. So this does look like it will be coming from now, and this will continue all the way through Thursday, and then it will soon up be pretty much all rain after that, although that little snow in the southern Appalachians, my bad, could be going on Thursday night, possibly lingering into Friday morning, before it's pretty much just a complete rain event in the southeast. And that is talking about sure by the time we get to Friday, the weekend. Now we will be looking at various models, see how much they are showing in terms of ice conditions from now until up until the end of the event. So not too bad as of right now, according to the NAM. So these are mostly showing someplace, good amount of areas in the Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas mainly. Could see over a quarter inch. Some places could get up to locally half of an inch, which is still pretty bad, even though the numbers may seem small. And trust me, it can be deadly. In fact, I really think I heard it has become deadly already in this first couple of waves. And yeah, that is definitely sad. So we're going to be comparing models here now. Of course, Canadians still continuing this path of destruction, unfortunately, for mainly Arkansas and surrounding places, which would. So I'm going to wipe that out of the card deck. So, however, GFS is also showing kind of similar scenarios. Some of these locations, such as Arkansas, and even localized areas in northern Texas, could get over half of an inch of ice. However, many locations do have potentially ice criteria, which is quarter of an inch of ice. That would be most likely across Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and even portions of northern Mississippi as well. The Aero model is showing more widespread ice storm criteria amounts, and even some places could get nearly an inch in some spots, maybe even 4/5 of an inch or 8/10 of an inch. Especially that would potentially seen in Middle Texas. I will actually go by each state as well, just for more localized amounts. Because what the arrow is showing is portions of the Dallas-Fort Worth metro could potentially be seeing maybe even over half of an inch. Again, this is the arrow, and these are going through midnight on Friday. In some places like Killeen, San Angelo, Abilene have this potential to get over half of an inch of freezing rain. GFS is treating this slightly in those same locations, however, towards Red River and especially to the west of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Locations, Wichita Falls especially, are still at heavy risk for the ice storm. So really, it's going to be a very dangerous day tomorrow across Texas and surrounding locations. Of course, we've already had some of these waves, so travel unfortunately won't get any better until at least Wednesday night. It will improve Thursday as, again, we'll be seeing improvement in temperatures, but I want to get to that later on so we can finish going over our ice mounts. So, again, NAM is showing Dallas-Fort Worth Metro also get over a quarter of an inch, so it'll be less for our western areas to the west of Dallas-Fort Worth Metro. However, Dallas-Fort Worth Metro would still be on the brunt. However, it wouldn't be as bad as some models are indicating as well. So NAM and its counterpart, 3 kilometer counterpart, which is more detailed in other words, is showing similar stories, although its counterpart is actually shoving the higher mounts a little further to the west, especially the Fort Worth part of the area could be seeing those higher mounts, a little less for the Dallas area. So yeah, this is a given estimate. We're looking at all kinds of models too. Again, this is just for Texas. We will get to other locations in a little bit. And I will actually do this. Let's go on detail radar. So we have this first round going on. A new round we'll be looking to start tomorrow morning. Unfortunately, could get in the way in the morning commute. This could start off as some sleet in northern Texas. However, it will be more of a freezing rain by the afternoon. However, locals across eastern Texas should expect mainly rain according to this model here. However, given that this is something, again, actually, if I do say this now, I'll say this. 1 degree can make a dramatic difference in who sees freezing rain and who sees just rain. Or even sleet versus rain too. However, that's really going to be sleet versus freezing rain actually, because you'd have to have a deeper cold layer, but still a narrow layer of warm air above the surface to have sleet. However, enough cold air towards the surface to still keep to refreeze the rain before it hits the ground. That's what sleet basically is. Freezing rain is just a really narrow cold layer at the surface where rain freezes upon contact with the ground, and that's what we call freezing rain. It can also be called ice because that's technically what it is, and that's what it accumulates as, and that's technically what water is frozen as well. And I'm not really concerned about any snow at this time, just the ice and possibly some sleet as well in Texas and also the Metroplex. Again, this will be freezing rain. However, it will start to warm up actually Wednesday night, and it'll transition things over from east to west to more so to rain. There could be lingering freezing rain to the west of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, even in the north, in the morning. possibly the fourth area as well, but that should change to more rain showers after the morning. This is going to be tomorrow, by the way. Actually, no, wait, Thursday. And so for our temperatures here, we're mostly going to be stuck in the upper 20s and lower 30s for the DFW metro area for now. And that's what's keeping our freezing rain across the area as well. However, of course, with that warm convection moving in, it will, of course, change to rain. But we could see lingering freezing temps for a Thursday night, especially to our west and north of the metro, with just above freezing in the mid upper 30s elsewhere in Texas, even some low 40s to the southeast, where including Lufkin, the Woodlands, and Austin. And then over across Louisiana, Arkansas, we'll also kind of look at Arkansas again. That is also an area of concern for our precipitation types as well. So we will be seeing possibly even the potential for thundersleet, as that has been a concern for the past two waves. However, I didn't really look at the thunder potential, but I can see what that is, although I have to look at another one, run model for them. Sorry. And yeah, I would have to zoom out in order to do that as well. Although Eero isn't really showing lightning anywhere in the region, we're expecting some frozen precipitation, maybe a little activity along the Gulf Coast to Louisiana, Mississippi, Thursday afternoon, evening. But that's all that goes for our lightning potential. And again, we need to go back to our precipitation type forecast, and I'll zoom back into the state zooms. Okay, so here we go. Okay, this is for Arkansas. If you want to do a forecast for your location, just let me know in the chat, and I will get to that. Again, heavy sleet is forecasted in the near term. However, this is actually in the afternoon. Although this is technically kind of still going on, we will get back to that shortly with that. Then we'll look at some of the local area. So it shows most precipitation will be across southern Arkansas for for a good portion of the night and also in much of the day Wednesday. However, showery activity will begin to pop up. Some of this could be in the form of freezing rain in northern central Arkansas, including Jonesboro, Little Rock area, and also northern Arkansas. Memphis could also get in on some of this freezing rain, but it will also eventually turn into solid rain through Thursday morning, along with Little Rock area, and pretty much most places that could be dealing with freezing rain through Thursday morning. And then this will eventually move out as rain later in the day on Thursday and into the evening, which will move further east in the southeast in the United States with time. Now, looking at now, we do see also some of this mixed precipitation moving through Oklahoma starting tomorrow in the afternoon mainly, although it will start to try to sneak up on the sun border and the Red River there right about midday tomorrow. And then it'll be mainly eastern half Oklahoma seeing the freezing rain sleet potential through the evening and into Wednesday night. Although I wouldn't be surprised if, sorry about that, that keeps happening. I don't know why. Oklahoma. So if I wouldn't be surprised if Oklahoma City does end up seeing little ice with this as well, and that's what is actually being shown right now. Probably more or less in the northern fringe of any potential accumulations. So for our Oklahoma ice accumulations locally, and I'll get back to Arkansas since I hadn't done that yet, and I will go back to comparing models because that's how we get a better idea of what's being potentially shown as well. So it is showing barely much of anything for Oklahoma City. However, it could be potentially glaze of ice there. It with the heavier ice accumulations, however, to the south, crossing half Oklahoma, with Lawton getting nearing a quarter-inch of ice. So is McAllister, Kuskokwim. Although GFS is the one that's showing it most ice for Oklahoma City this time, with two tenths of an inch of ice given for that area. Now Lawton, however, would be seeing 0.35 inches of ice. It is at least a tenth over the ice storm criteria for that. And McAllister is showing, on an average scale, I'd say around 2 tenths of an inch of ice. However, it is also going above the ice storm criteria with 0.32 inches of ice in McAllister, Oklahoma. And there is possibility some locations could get a little light snow. However, this wouldn't amount to much, as the phase rain is going to be the bigger threat. So NAM here is showing little light snow of up to an inch, maybe a little over that, in the Texas Panhandle and western Texas. UK, however, isn't necessarily something we can actually say would be accurate given the setup here. I highly doubt we're going to be seeing inches of snow from this given the expected setup, even though that's something that is being shown. But I will quickly take a glance at Arkansas and do some clearing there as well. So for areas such as Arkansas, yeah. Sorry. So it will be so some of these models are mostly targeting southern Arkansas for the highest accumulations, which even in some places, unfortunately, could be nearing 3/4 of an inch. El Dorado, in particular, from the GFS at least, could get over half of an inch of ice. While in that particular location, other models don't show much at all, if anything. Well, at least as much, but the NAM is generally under a tenth of an inch for ice in El Dorado, while Eero is just over that. However, the Eero, however, would be showing nearly half-inch of ice for the Lubbock Metro and Hot Springs as well. Memphis could get a little close to that as well, nearly 4/10 of an inch of ice. However, this is just from Tuesday noon, so that's about 8 hours ago local time. So this could be potentially including some of what's fallen. However, this is all what's come all the way through Friday midnight actually. So that's going to be Thursday night. However, Pine Bluff could get some nasty amounts as well. That would be on an average around nearly 3/10 of an inch of ice. Just given an average, about a quarter of an inch of ice actually. So according to ice is the ice room criteria, so we're showing many central Arkansas locations according to Eero getting over that, including the Memphis metro area. So many of these models are actually showing a hole over the Memphis metro area where they'd be saying little to no ice actually, including GFS and the NAM. However, further north here, we could see that potentially ice storm criteria as well for Jonesboro, Arkansas. Some of them are very close to that, so Eero and NAM. However, GFS did go over that nearly 4/10 of an inch of ice. in Jonesboro alone. So now let's kind of look a little further ahead in time, in fact. I'll zoom back out completely. So, so looking ahead though, beyond the ice storm, which is going to be our main focus though for tonight's stream though. So we have this ice storm, which will be mostly rain by the time we get to Thursday morning, and that'll completely be rain by Thursday evening across Southeast. It will be really calm across the United States for the rest of the week and in the weekend. However, there could be potentially some concerns popping up next week. One of that could potentially be a storm system moving through the Midwest, giving some of the upper Midwest some snow and rain to the south of that in the warm sector, potentially some convection if this storm does be strong enough to pull enough Gulf moisture to the warm sector of the system. However, this isn't looking particularly strong this time. And even a few more systems later in the week as well and towards the weekend, bringing back the active weather setup for the country. However, this is more uncertain this time, so we'll brief glance at the longer term. So that is not something we can count on, but yeah, our main focus, in fact, is going to be our ongoing ice storm. So we'll also be looking at a little graphic. So according to the National Weather Service of Fort Worth and Dallas, it is showing many locations seeing high impacts, including like major travel impacts, for example, across at least the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex, Sherman, and Denison areas, and Stephenville, at least until Thursday morning, possibly to midday. However, it could wind down sooner across Waco, Killeen Temple, and Palestine, more so towards Wednesday morning, as these are further to the south than the rest of the locations on here. And Palestine is going to be some of the first locations there in that Fort Worth metro area in the National Weather Service to transition over to completely rain as there's no impacts after 6 a.m. Thursday. While some of the central Texas locations, just Waco, Kelly Temple, that they could see a little longer though, but they'll be really minor Thursday morning. We could see some minor impacts potentially through morning Thursday, but they'll quickly die down through midday Thursday, completely be gone after 3 p.m. Thursday. So we have our winter storm warning in effect for portions of Dallas Fort Worth Metro, including the Fort Worth area, also Denton, Graham, Millionville Wells, Cisco, and Stephenville. And in fact, we'll also, so again, we have our ice storm warning in effect for portions of northern Texas. Some of the cities that are listed on here include Jacksboro, Graham, Stephenville, Command, Cleburne, Granbury, Fort Worth, Denton, Decatur, and then winter storm warning across West Metro and much of northern Texas. And this is for the freezing rain sleet accumulations expected. Now, Memphis Metro is also expected to see ice storm warning, as that is in effect right now. This graphic from the National Weather Service in Memphis is indicating over a quarter-inch of ice for southwest Tennessee, northwest Mississippi, and across central Arkansas. And this is going through Thursday morning. However, this is in taking into account for some of the ice that we've seen since this morning. In fact, this is an ongoing situation right now. However, where we have that red area, that's where we're saying over a quarter inch of ice according to this. It includes portions of Memphis Metro. If you're anywhere in the Dark Poke region, that means you're under an ice storm warning that will remain effective until Wednesday at noon. A sliver of the Arkansas, Missouri, Boot Heel, and Tennessee, Northwest Tennessee area is under that narrow gap of winter storm warning, while Midwest advisories cover much of elsewhere. Although that area has actually been upgraded to ice storm warning since, and the winter weather advisories do extend all the way to West Virginia, as those lighter purple areas indicate. While wind chillers are much less expansive compared to yesterday last night, they're still near the Canadian border across North Dakota and Minnesota. They pretty much have expired elsewhere, however. We'll also see what Little Rock is up to. This is a very important graphic right here. Share your travel plans with friends and family, pack an emergency supply kit, charge your cell phone, make sure your vehicle has a full gas tank. You can also check official websites for latest road conditions, such as iDrive Arkansas. If, for example, if you're in Arkansas, of course, there will be different sites for your area, depending on where you live. Also, be sure tires have adequate tread and are properly inflated. Also, be sure to get the weather forecast, which you can't hear in fact right now, as you're watching this live coverage. If the forecast size totals, the red area is basically anywhere over a quarter inch of ice. However, that does seem to vary a little bit. However, Hot Springs has the highest chance, as well as Pine Bluff, for ice storm totals, at least a quarter of an inch of ice. However, it could be pretty much anywhere in that red zone we could potentially see 1 inch of ice. And again, it says here areas from Mina to Little Rock, to Pine Bluff eastward are expected to see the most with a quarter inch or more of ice accumulation in many locations. And again, shows much of Arkansas will likely see ice accumulations through Wednesday morning, tomorrow morning, that is. Here's a little idea of how you can measure ice creation, which is some fun little tips from National Western's Little Rock. It can be tricky, however, this National Western's does show a few steps. Find a tree or shrub branch. Use a tape measure or ruler to measure ice on top and bottom of the branch, not including the branch. This is what it does usually just thickness is typically greater on the bottom side than on the top side. Add the two measurements and then divide two to get an average ice accumulation. And you can share that branch anywhere, at least if you can tag the National Weather Service, and that'll let them know your report. So here's a little example here. There's a quarter inch of ice on the top of the branch, and then there's 3/4 of an inch of ice on the bottom. Add those totals up and then divide by 2. So the average ice accumulation would be half inch of ice, and that's to be your ice hole. You do not measure the branch. You just measure how much ice there is on each side of the branch, top and then the bottom, and then divide those. We'll add those up first, and then divide those totals, and your end result is to be the total. And also a little another graphic for temperatures aloft. Yeah, they're definitely crucial. So if you have warm air above the ground, that could potentially lead to some interesting precipitation types if the temperatures near the ground are near below freezing as well. If that layer of warm air is really narrow and well above the surface, then that does result in sleet, so that rain freezes and forms the ice before reaching the surface. However, if the whole column atmosphere is below freezing, it will say snow. But we do have a narrow, warm layer in this case here. So when the collar is actually really narrow and more or less restricted close to the surface, like many areas we do, that means that rain freezes on contact with the surface. However, if the whole column atmosphere is above freezing, the rain will never be freeze, and it will go to rain without freezing upon contact with the surface. We'll go back to radar as well. radar update right now. Mixed precipitation is going on across Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, and even little portions of Kentucky there as well. Even though this seems to indicate snow, the reports here are pretty much only indicating either ice or sleet, depending on the context. However, it says much of it is going to be considered sleet, but there's also ice with that as well. So while Memphis seems to be in a little hole right now, however, there is more sleet / ice coming your way. Just to yes, this will be a brief break in the heavy rains. However, this will come back eventually for a little bit this evening, and then we'll see more tomorrow across the Memphis metro. We'll also seeing some mixed wind precipitation this time. However, there will be a new bout tomorrow once this one does come to an end. Back down here in the Dallas-Fort Worth metro, it seems like right now the worst of it has come to an end. However, a little bit of wind precipitation is moving through. However, the worst of it is expected to come as well tomorrow, in fact. And we've been looking at models indicated timing as well. New wave will be coming up tomorrow. Maybe once better Thursday, but it'll be warmer for the Thursday wave, and it'll eventually be all rain in many of these areas as well by that point. Sorry. These will all be bringing rounds of rain as well as the southeast on the warmer side of the systems as well. And yeah, that's been the main weather focus. There's a little weather going on pretty much elsewhere across the country at this time. But then maybe a few showers in southwest, as well as portions of the Pacific Northwest. I'm sorry, I'm still having a cough. These could be the form of snow in the mountains, more or less rain showers along the coast there in Washington State. Yeah, so other than that, little shower activity, rain activity across southeast, on the northern side, it's going to be all kinds of wind and precipitation. A lot of coffee going on right now. So that's going to be leading to our narrow warm layer aloft. That's going to be why we're not seeing snow, but rather sleet or ice. I will be back in a little bit, guys. However, I will be keeping the radar up in the meantime, so...
Latest forecast for updates on this situation. In Arkansas, for the latest road conditions, call 1-800-245-1672 or go to idrivearkansas.com. In Oklahoma, for the latest road conditions, call 1-844-465-4997 or go to oakroads.org. Repeating, the winter weather advisory has been allowed to expire for the following counties: in Oklahoma, Haskell, Latimer, Pittsburgh, and Sequoia; in the following counties: in Arkansas, Franklin and Sebastian. Winter weather advisory remains in effect until 6 a.m. Central Standard Time Wednesday. Winter storm watch remains in effect from Wednesday afternoon through Thursday morning. What, for the winter weather advisory: freezing drizzle. Additional ice accumulations of a light glaze. For the winter storm watch, significant icing possible. Total ice accumulations of 0.2 to 0.3 of an inch possible. Where? Pushmataha, Choctaw and Lafleur counties. When? For the winter weather advisory, until 6 a.m. Central Standard Time Wednesday. For the winter storm watch, from Wednesday afternoon through Thursday morning. Impacts, scattered power outages and tree damage are likely due to the ice. Accumulation of ice on roadways will make travel treacherous. Additional details, freezing drizzle through tonight will continue to impact roadways, especially bridges and overpasses. The heavier icing arrives Wednesday afternoon through Wednesday night. Slow down and use caution while traveling. Prepare for possible power outages. Monitor the latest forecast for updates on this situation. For the latest road conditions, call 1-844-465-4997 or go to oakroads.org. Repeating, a winter weather advisory remains in effect until 6 a.m. Central Standard Time Wednesday for the following counties, in Oklahoma, Choctaw, Lafleur and Pushmataha. The Fort Smith, Arkansas climate summary for this evening, as of 4 p.m., January 31st, 2023. Today's high temperature was 28 degrees. The normal high is 53. The record high is 79 degrees, which was set in 2017. Today's low temperature was 26 degrees. The normal low is 30. The record low is 3 degrees, which was set in 1979. 0.08 inches of precipitation fell today, which brings the monthly total to 1.93 inches. This is 0.98 inches below the normal amount of 2.91 inches for January. Sunset tonight is at 5:44 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow is at 7:17 a.m. The current time is 8:22 p.m. Central Standard Time. At 8 p.m., at the Fort Smith Regional Airport, it was cloudy. The temperature was 27, dew point 22, relative humidity 81%. The wind was north at 5. The pressure was 30.36 inches and steady. Around Arkansas this hour? In Fayetteville, it was cloudy with a temperature of 23. The wind was northeast at 5. In Little Rock, light freezing rain was falling with a temperature of 30. The wind was north at 10, producing a wind chill of 21. At Harrison, it was cloudy with a temperature of 21. The wind was north at 3. At Russellville, it was cloudy with a temperature of 28. The wind was northeast at 9, producing a wind chill of 19. In Hot Springs, it was cloudy with a temperature of 30. The wind was northeast at 3. Around the region, in Tulsa, it was cloudy with a temperature of 23. In Muskogee, it was mostly cloudy with a temperature of 24. In McAllister, it was mostly cloudy with a temperature of 23. In Springfield, it was mostly cloudy with a temperature of 20. At Joplin, it was mostly cloudy with a temperature of 20. In the Dallas-Fort Worth area, it was cloudy with a temperature of 28. In Shreveport, light rain was falling with a temperature of 36. And in Kansas City, it was partly cloudy with a temperature of 22. Once again, in western Arkansas, it was cloudy, and temperatures were between 23 and 27 degrees. The forecast for the Fort Smith area, including the Arkansas River Valley of eastern Oklahoma and west central Arkansas. Rest of tonight, mostly cloudy. Near steady temperature in the mid-20s. Northwest winds around 5 miles per hour. Wednesday, mostly cloudy. A chance of freezing rain with a slight chance of rain in the afternoon. Highs in the mid-30s. East winds around 5 miles per hour. Chance of precipitation 40%. Wednesday night, cloudy. Freezing rain and rain likely in the evening, then a chance of freezing rain after midnight. Ice accumulation of 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch. Cold with lows in the upper 20s. East winds around 5 miles per hour. Chance of precipitation 70%. Thursday, mostly cloudy. A chance of rain and freezing rain in the morning, then a slight chance of rain in the afternoon. highs in the lower 40s. Northwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of precipitation 30%. Thursday night, partly cloudy in the evening, then clearing. Cold with lows in the mid-20s. Northwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Friday, sunny. Highs in the upper 40s. Friday night, mostly clear in the evening, then becoming mostly cloudy. Cold with lows in the upper 20s. Saturday, partly sunny. Highs in the lower 50s. Saturday night, mostly cloudy in the evening, then clearing. Lows in the lower 30s. Sunday, sunny. Highs in the upper 50s. Sunday night, clear in the evening, then becoming partly cloudy. Lows in the mid-30s. Monday, mostly cloudy. Highs in the lower 60s. Monday night, mostly cloudy. Lows in the mid-40s. Tuesday, cloudy with a 20% chance of showers. Highs in the mid-50s. And now the hazardous weather outlook. Issued at 4:41 p.m. Central Standard Time. Winter weather impacts continue through Wednesday. This outlook is for northwest and west central Arkansas as well as much of eastern Oklahoma. For tonight, winter weather. Freezing drizzle. Risk, limited. Area, southeast Oklahoma. Onset, ongoing. Discussion, areas of freezing drizzle will likely persist across southeast Oklahoma through the overnight hours. Additional ice amounts will be very light, however slick spots will be maintained, especially on bridges and overpasses. Additional ice accumulations are forecast for Wednesday. Spotter and emergency management action statement, spotter activation not expected. And now the extended outlook for the period Wednesday through Monday. Wednesday and Thursday, winter weather potential. Friday, no hazards. Saturday, high wind potential. Sunday, no hazards. Monday, high wind potential. Extended discussion, a large area of freezing rain will spread across North Texas and eventually into portions of eastern Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas late Wednesday through Wednesday night. Additional ice accumulations around 1/4 inch are forecast for much of southeast Oklahoma into west central Arkansas through early Thursday morning. Light ice accumulations will be possible further north across northeast Oklahoma and far northwest Arkansas. Travel impacts are likely to expand due to the additional icing. Precipitation is expected to end early Thursday with a warming and drying trend from late week into next weekend. Weather.gov/Tulsa contains additional information. The following is a summary of watches, warnings, and advisories in effect. The Fort Smith area, including the Arkansas River Valley of eastern Oklahoma and west central Arkansas. Ice storm warning has been extended until noon Central Standard Time Thursday for the following county: Northern Scott, Arkansas. A winter weather advisory remains in effect until 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and now includes the following counties in Arkansas: Franklin and Sebastian. Winter weather advisory has been extended until 6 a.m. Central Standard Time Wednesday, and expanded to include the following county: LaFleur, Oklahoma. A winter weather advisory
Alright, so welcome back. We are going to be taking once again another look at our radar and then also the updated models that have been going on. At least good enough that we could totally look at that. So while we still have a continuing ice storm situation going on across Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee, a little bit of Kentucky, and even back down into Oklahoma, Texas there as well. There is a little sleet mix in some areas as well across the band. So now I'm going to take a look at the fresh new models that have come out with this as well. So what our latest guidance is showing. is that by Wednesday morning, it'll be a little closer to morning commute. It'll be about 4 to 5 a.m. local time. We'll start to see some renewed food precipitation movement in the form of sleet and then ice eventually later on. So it looks like Dallas Fort Worth Metro, according to the NAM, could start off as sleet and then over late in the morning hours. This will also be more of a showery mode as well. In the afternoon, it'll be mostly freezing rain. However, we'll see as possible, however, in the afternoon. So we'll be showers and then more widespread precipitation moves into the metro late in the afternoon, Wednesday, tomorrow. And then through Wednesday night, and then by Thursday morning, it'll mostly be just rain. However, little piece of rain could be lingering, especially across the western portion of the metroplex, including the Fort Worth area. But even then, that'll completely change over to rain by Thursday midday. However, there could also be a break in the rain as well from late in the morning into the evening. And this time it will be mostly just rain for Texas as well. This model is also showing light snow on the really backside of it, right here across northwest Texas. However, this is not expected to affect the metro this time, as it will be just some sleet and ice, then to rain, and then the event will end. We'll also get updated accumulations for that area as well. So, we'll go here. Okay, so what's being shown through Thursday evening is portions of the Fort Worth area could get overcorrected device. However, it is showing a little gap in the bounds for Dallas, closer to just a tenth of an inch. However, we could potentially see the ISO criteria being met for Fort Worth area, also further south in central Texas, and also as well near the Red River border, and then also back across in Oklahoma. And there could be also with that as well. It doesn't really amount to much. However, this model does show one possibly couple inches between Childress, Wichita Falls, and Abilene. So we'll be kind of in that area to the northwest of the Dallas-Fort Worth metro. Now for Oklahoma, some stuff is oh sorry, that's been a little further into southern Oklahoma as well. The ice accumulations still continue to be favored across some half of the state. However, it seems like the ice accumulations may bypass Oklahoma City, except maybe the southern suburbs, which could get a little glaze of ice between now and Thursday. And yeah, we'll look at soundings later on as well. So what is being shown here is some areas, of course, could get ice criteria again. McAllister is definitely a possibility, as well as Lawton. McAllister Quintus model is being shown to receive about a third of an inch of ice. That's ice criteria. They are more than that. While Lawton is still just shy of that with 0.2 inches, just over a fifth of an inch, however, 2/10 of an inch. So for the precipitation timing as well in Oklahoma, there won't really be anything going on after this band moves through. This is all going now. there won't be much going on until later in the afternoon across Oklahoma, and specifically southern Oklahoma. So this could start off as sleet, but it'll be more of a freezing rain. Although I'm decided some sleet was still mixed in even to the evening across in Oklahoma. And again, this will be mainly dodgy Oklahoma City as a whole. It'll be mainly more focused across soon half of the state. Biggest threat's going to be from Wednesday evening and pretty much through the night. Another wave, although less widespread and potentially mostly rain, if anything, could come up again Thursday morning through the day on Thursday. But we'll transition over to the rain later on the day and kind of move out later in the evening on Thursday. Again, that backside snow potential does exist across northwest Texas and even a sliver of southern Oklahoma there, according to NAM, around with that next wave of precipitation on Thursday. Thursday late morning into the afternoon. And so, with that being said, we will also be looking at a little more into Arkansas. As again, that is another area that is of high concern for wind precipitation at this time. So while this current band does move out later in the night tonight, again, that next is going to start coming up across Arkansas, keeping in there by tomorrow morning. It'll be more showery, but more widespread precipitation. Some of this in the form of freezing rain will come up, I would say, starting around when school gets out, if there are even any schools going on across Arkansas tomorrow. And then we'll continue to see this move through. Some of this, especially across central northern Arkansas, could be the form of freezing rain for Wednesday night. And then, like I said, it's going to be completely over the rain by Thursday afternoon. Although this is showing lingering freezing rain for Thursday night on the very edge of the precipitation across central Oklahoma, Arkansas area, around the Mena, Arkansas area. And then this precipitation does move out Thursday night. Well, that'll be more so in the overnight hours, according to this model here. And also, we'll be seeing this potential freezing rain across Little Rock, Hot Springs, Mena, Russellville, Conway, Fort Smith, even Memphis, Tennessee, to get on this second wave. But then these areas will be more rain by Thursday p.m. But again, there is a potential ice threat for these areas as well. So, with that being said, here are the ice amounts for the latest model run for now. So it is showing an instant map here. So potentially areas of showers could be dealing with over ice storm bouts, while 10, 20 miles later there is little to nothing. That is where you're seeing outside of showers, there's little nothing. However, through the path of these potentially multiple waves of showers, which is meta to be unfortunate target, you could see potentially over the ISM criteria of half inch of ice. However, more widespread, including southern Arkansas and Pine Bluff especially, could get over quarter of ice, and Pine Bluff would be forecast to get 132 inches of ice. And this is lasting through Thursday evening. And then areas like Conway, Little Rock Metro will be starting to taper off further north, around 10th inch of ice, 10.17 inches of ice in the Little Rock area. And then near the border, Texarkana is seeing 0.05 inches of ice. El Dorado seeing nearly a tenth of inch of ice. Again, amounts will be expected to kind of wear off also near the Arkansas-Louisiana border, the southern area as well. So this will be more focused on central Arkansas, by the way. We'll be looking at some cams as well, the effective line models, as they call it, for the short-term, near-term models, which is going really in detail. So this model is showing unfortunately, a little too much destruction for northern Texas. However, it doesn't show much of Dallas side metro. However, it could see a little bit of ice up to maybe even 4 inch of ice with that gradient there across the Fort Worth area. And then to the west, see reverse amounts according to one of those kind of models. Memphis could see a little bit more, in fact, from this. This would be the wave on Thursday, and we'll look at that models there as well to give a better idea of what this could be showing. So you don't see much until Wednesday morning, which will be starting to see our new round pop up. Again, focus on the middle of Texas. Over Dallas, Fort Worth Metro could be getting in the ice, however, more so rain across Dallas, but more freezing rain accumulations across Fort Worth for our wave of ice here, next one. And this would be Wednesday afternoon, evening. So while this will be moving through, and it'll also be kind of going on tomorrow night, Wednesday night as well, it'll be tapering off to, it'll be really transitioning to a complete rain by Thursday morning as well, which has been well anticipated in the models. Memphis could get a little more ice for this model. Again, mainly in the Wednesday night frame, Thursday morning time frame, and they'll also eventually transition over to completely rain. And then this area of rain will move through southeast. So again, back to our accumulations map. Okay, so this does bring some of these ice accumulations into Oklahoma City, around 0.2 of an inch of ice for Oklahoma City itself, while Fort Worth could actually get a little bit, although not much, according to this model. In fact, it's kind of really the grades over the Fort Worth, with Dallas saying pretty much almost nothing at this point. However, Memphis could get nearly 10th of an inch of ice, according to this model here. And Arkansas, depending on context, Little Rock could get over a quarter inch of ice according to this model. In fact, let's go back to the comparisons to get a better idea of what is being anticipated here. So some of these models have been just updated, other ones have not. So it is showing nearly half inch of ice some places for Dallas Fort Worth Metro. And then those amounts can vary. It's going full on destruction there. But especially in southern Arkansas, we're not forecasting anything over maybe 3/4 inch of ice. In really anywhere in this ice storm. So GFS is not showing much for DFW Metro. Maybe in some places nearly an inch, according to HRRR. One of the cams is showing nothing, especially this is what we were just looking at, by the way. And then it is showing something, depending on where you are in Dallas, could see just under 2/10 of an inch of ice for the dam. And then Fort Worth, get a little more, and also further south, which is where heavier ice could be found also to the north. Most of these locations get just about an inch of ice. However, down to the south, just a few counties away, that's where we could see over half an inch of ice. This is kind of the same story here. This is some of these models have a duplicate, basically counterpart of their main model. So, and for Oklahoma City, there are some models that don't show anything for OKC, while there are plenty of them that do. So Ero's kind of showing on the basically on the northern gradient. That's where the Eero lays for Oklahoma City. Almost nothing there. Same with the Canadian model. GFS a little more generous, however, giving exactly 4 inch of ice for Oklahoma City. The HRRR doesn't really show anything there. Effective line model does show 4 inch of ice as well for Oklahoma City. NAB shows almost nothing for their New Counterpart shoves it completely just south of the Oklahoma City area. However, the Canadian counterpart does show a little bit as well for Oklahoma City, albeit not much, just under 10th of a device this time. Now for Memphis, also taking account some of what we've seen so far tonight. These are also highly variable amounts of ice for that area. Canadian counterparts going complete destruction in Memphis over an inch of ice. Not gonna forecast that. I really doubt, although, and maybe for the event total, although I'm not really sure if that's even the case. But 6/10 of an inch of ice, that's 3/5 of an inch. According to this model, Eero, 4/10 of an inch of ice for Memphis. GFS in a whole just under 10th of an inch of ice for Memphis. HRRR is around a 1/4 inch of ice. Short-term models also just under a 10th of an inch of ice there. They am showing also completely nothing. So is their counterpart for the Memphis area. Now for the Little Rock area, you're showing nearly half inch of ice there. Over that, 6/10 of an inch of ice for Little Rock area for the Canadian model. GFS showing nearly 2/10 of an inch of ice there. HRRR showing nearly half inch of ice in Little Rock. Just over half an inch for, no, just over a quarter of an inch for Little Rock from the camp, effective allowing around half 1/4 inch of ice for the NAM. Like a Canadian camp it's the most destructive of them all, showing over an inch of ice, possibly 2 inches of ice. This is pretty much an outlier, so I'm not gonna count this model at all in any of this. So we're gonna just kind of focus on what's going to be looking like for our rainfall amounts across elsewhere, including the southeast, once this precipitation moves in that region. Okay, so for our rainfall amounts, I'm gonna well, this might not be completely over by then. Friday morning, this model wants to bring over an inch of rain through much of Georgia, Alabama, as well as Mississippi, and also Carolina. So it'll be over an inch of rain from those locations in the southeast. So the average consensus here is much of the southeast is over an inch of rain. Some places in that orangish red zone could get to 2 inches. Most likely area for that seems to be across Mississippi this time and into portions of Alabama. And yes, this is in the form of rain, by the way, in the southeast. This event is close to being over. In fact, probably over. We'll see. We'll see the complete amounts, which could be again that swath of over inch of ice is kind of wide, spanning from eastern Texas to Arkansas, Louisiana, southern Arkansas, by the way, and that's where we could still feel a little ice there and sleet as well. Even a little bit of northern Louisiana, however, there'll be more rain event. So that'll also be over an inch of rain. Also, most of Mississippi, Alabama, and northern Georgia. Also through some portions of the Carolinas and southern Tennessee. And that's where the average ends up. So these models are kind of giving showery, locally over an inch of rain for portions of northern Florida in the peninsula. I'm sorry, panhandle, but a little bit of the peninsula as well could get some of that heavy rain. It seems like any 2+ inch zones could be more local, however, they are still showing up in certain places, especially Mississippi and Alabama. So can't completely discount that. So we'll continue look we'll start looking at other areas that we haven't gotten to look at yet. So we look at national latitudes of Norman. We had showing the heaviest isolations on the south end near the Oklahoma-Texas border of over a quarter inch of ice. Average seems to be Oklahoma City could get around a tenth inch of ice, maybe a little more, just building that zone there. Oklahoma City is currently under an winter weather advisory this time, with the counties to the south and the border there under a winter storm warning. It seems like it'll be earlier, close to it'll be in the morning hours near the border, and then as we get into Oklahoma City, it'll be late in the afternoon, and then areas of northern Oklahoma will be completely missed potentially as well. Sleet accumulations, we kind of see a story with the heavy accumulations across south, and it does look like it will warm up after this, potentially even in the 60s in much of Oklahoma. That'll be later in the weekend as well, so there is hope after this story. This won't last long. You'll get out of it. We'll be warm again in Oklahoma. So in the Midland National Weather Service, we have our ISO 1A, where we have our average accumulations to quarter inch to half inch of ice. And yeah, that does show well. Over half inch of ice could be seen potentially in the east portion of the CWA for Midland / Odessa, including Big Lake, Texas there for this graphic here. And there is relatively high chance of the winter slope in this graphic here in Odessa, McCamey, Fort Stockton, Big Lake, Big Springs, Snyder, Texas. Yeah, we'll look at some of these graphics as well. Of course, don't let black ice sneak up on you. It can form on any road, but also along curbs or dredges due to the melting snow. This is more prevalent at night, but can still be bad in the morning. Also, don't drive during freezing temperatures after rain or snow melt. And it will be difficult to spot. I have a little tip though. If it looks shiny, that is a sign that that is black ice. Even if there's no sunlight, especially. That's how you know. Freezing rain is definitely the worst of type of wind precipitation. In fact, it's more dangerous than snow, and ice can form in pavement. Just also watch out for falling branches and power lines. Also use extreme caution if you need to travel during these conditions. And travel will not be advised though. And there is potential for snow on the backside of this, across maybe east, southeast Mexico and western Texas, and that is potentially been discussed on this. Yeah. I think that is going to be it for tonight's discussion. So hopefully you enjoyed it. I'm going to try to do more of this whenever I can. I don't know when that's going to be. But yeah. So that have a safe night, everyone. Be sure to continue to be cautious of the forecast and be sure to be cautious on travel. Very cautious back. Stay home as much as you can if you're in the affected area for the ice storm, which you'll be going through Thursday, but mainly tomorrow as well.